Hello and welcome to the part 2 of our series on Sage Cloud Accounting Software. My name is Elnice Goosen. I am the main brain of TGE Chartered Accountants and Registered Auditors. In this session, I would like to take you through how to set up your trading aspects on the accounting software package, specifically your items, namely your products or services, and your customers and suppliers. In the previous video, I showed you how to do your basic setup, getting started, and how to set up your company settings in the way that you prefer. So let's jump to our browser. I'm using Chrome, and if you remember, I've showed you how to put the icon on your favorites bar so that it's easily accessible. So you will either just click on here, or you will Google Sage Accounting and look for the specific login page. But we've got it set up over here. Just log into your account. And click on your company. You will be taken to your dashboard or your home page. Right, so previously we set up our company settings and we've went through our accounting list as well as setting up our bank account. Now I would like to show you how to create your items. If you are a DGE client, then this will have been set up for you already as far as we possibly can, but you are also welcome to either edit it if you don't like the way it was depicted, or you can add new items. So we will go to items, list of items, or if you don't have any items at all yet, you can simply add an item over here. So for instance, this one has two products already set up, well, a product and a service. Again, there's an add an item button if you want to add a new item. I just want to show you how it looks like. You will have a code that we normally have 3 alpha characters and 3 numeric characters. If you are a DGE client and you prefer something else as your code, you are welcome to go and edit your products or services on this page. It was just a rough guideline that we used to set up everything for you already, but you can change it any way you would like. If you would like to add a new item, then you would type in your code, your description. This one is a product. I will show you a service on the other hand now. And then you will have options to put in your selling price, what you normally sell your price at. If you are set up for VAT, this will already have your VAT deducted for you. This one is at the standard rate, it's set up already. So you will have your selling price at, say, 5,000 Rand, and this will be exclusive of VAT. It will already populate. Your unit will be each, or a batch, or if it's in a box, or if it's in a pallet or something like that, then you will describe your unit over here. At the top here, you will put in what it cost you last. Now what the system does is every time you purchase new items and you capture the supplier invoice at a new cost, say it costs 600 Rand next month, then the system will automatically update your prices. But this is just to have a base price to say, when purchased this, what was the cost. You will describe what the quantity is on hand at the point that you are capturing this item, so that we start with however much you have in stock at this moment. Then you will save this one, or you can save and new, and it will take you to another page to create a new item. I just want to show you the service, for instance. We've created a service. If you create a new service, remember to tick this service box, please, because it will automatically default to a product and you will have to specify that it is a service. You can also categorize your products or services to say, for instance, this will be labor or installation services. If it's a product, you can group it under whatever product groupings you have. We will again just include the selling price here, and if that is applicable, it will automatically calculate this for you. Now this list of items, once you issue a quote or an invoice, then you will have a drop down menu so that you can select from pre-populated items already listed in this item list. So let's move on to our customers. Again, you can add a new customer, or if you are a DGE client, we've already listed some of your customers for you. Again, you can add a new customer in here, or if you have a list of customers already, you can import that and follow the prompts of exactly how to import your customer list. If I just show you our pre-populated customer, you will have your customer's name. Again, you can categorize it if you want. Is it a cash customer or not? Most won't be, but you might have them as well. Important to remember is to put in your customer's VAT number over here. If your customer is VAT registered, they will have to have a tax invoice with their VAT number on it for SARS purposes. So this is important that you just make your customer's life easy as well to include their VAT number over here. Down in this box, you will have your details of the customer, the postal address, delivery address, your customer name, their email address, telephone numbers, web address. You can fill in those details. And down below will be your default settings to say this will be defaulted as none, so you will have to specify, I would like to email this to my client, or any communication to this customer will be emailed and not only printed, for instance. You can specify a discount if it's a global discount percentage, but normally leave that blank, and you can also edit it on every single invoice as well, or quote. Default VAT type, you can edit this as well, and you can say when your payment terms for this specific customer is. So you can say in this specific day of the month, or end of the month, or days from the end of the invoice month. We've just defaulted it to a week after invoice date. Let's move on to your customer documents. The normal flow of customer documents are as follows. You will issue a quote. Your client will accept that quote or decline it. If they accept it, you have the option in the system to convert it immediately to an invoice. If you don't work with quotes, you can directly jump to the invoice part. Then after you've issued your invoice, the client has to pay then upon the invoice payment date. If you have a deposit as well that needs to be paid, the customer, you can specify it on your invoice body to say a deposit of say 50% needs to be paid by a certain date before we even start our work, or something in that line. And then after you've issued your invoice, you can then send statements. You can send them bi-monthly or weekly, or even mostly at the end of the month, where it's a summary of all your customer transactions for that specific customer, and you can see a list of all the invoices or credit notes, and then see an account balance that needs to be settled as well. Right, so if you go to the customer tab again and you go to transactions, we've added a customer. There's our list of customers, and this is now we're working with transactions. There's your customer quotes, and you can add a new quote over here. This is our pre-populated one, where you say what customer you want. This is a drop-down menu. You can add a new customer from here. As I mentioned, Sage has different shortcuts that you can use. You can see whatever fits best. Either you add a new customer over here, or you can directly from the quote add a new customer. So you select your customer. All this will be pre-populated from your customer list the moment you select your customer, all the VAT details and the address details. This document number will be pre-populated from whatever the subsequent document number is from what you specified under your under your company settings that I showed you in the previous video. You will select your date over here. If you have a specific reference that you would like the customer to use, or if you have a reference code, then you can put it in this block. And if you have specific sales reps, you can add your sales reps over here, and I believe you will be able to add your sales reps there as well. I prefer ticking this box to say use inclusive amounts. So you will add your items. Let me just open a new line so that you will see it's blank as a default, and then you will select your item, and this will pull through from the item list that we just created. Yet again, there's a shortcut to create a new item if you haven't yet created the item you would like to use, or you can go and add it over here in your list or add a new item. But we've already selected our products, and they are defaulting to the prices that we have stipulated under our item list. If this changes, you can simply type over it, and it will also update your item list to say this is your new price that you are wanting to use. This discount block will give an overall discount over here, and this discount block will have a specific discount for that item. So we've selected a product. It'll cost you 5,000 Rand, and your service for installation, for instance, it will take 1 hour and it will cost you this much, giving you a total over here with for your quote. And this pre-populated message will come through from your company settings again, where we stipulated the document messages. If you have certain specifications that you would like to add to every item that you've selected under your quote, you are able to click on this little page icon over here on the left hand side. If you open it up, there is space to type a little message with maybe specifications for your product, or any kind of details that you would like the customer to know as well. You are obviously able to add 2 hours of labor if you would like to do that. Let's have a look at our print preview, just so that you have a feel for what it looks like. Your logo, quote number, if you have a reference, it will appear there, and if you have your sales rep, it will appear there. You have your company name with your details and your customer's name with their details. List of all of your items that you selected. There's your little message that's nonsensical that we typed in just now, and default VAT type that you can select per item as well, and your message that pulls through with your balance showing at the end. Once you are happy with your quote, you can select email here at the bottom. It will bring you to this page where you can enter your email address. So it will already pull through this email address from your customer list. You can CC yourself if you want. The email signature is set as default, and it's got this little message down here which we don't like, because we've already set up a quote email signature under our company settings. So we prefer to use that email signature, and it will have your company name and your customer name and the quote number as per the settings, with those placeholders that you were able to select in your customer settings. So you will have a better message giving you a little bit of more body to your email, and then you can email it to your client. If your customer then accepts your quote, you can come back to this page under customers, transactions, quotes, and all the customers will be listed on this page, and you have an option to go either into this quote and say options, create an invoice. Let me show you the other option is to go to this actions button at the right hand side, and you can simply say create an invoice directly from this quote. you are creating a tax invoice from this quote, the quote status will be changed to invoiced. There you have it. You have processed a customer invoice. It's already populated with exactly the same details as your quote previously. It will just be on today's date, in other words, and this document number will pull through from the last invoice date that you invoice number that you specified under your company settings. So we've created an invoice. This is just again with our little message for that specific item. This message will default now to the message that you populated to say, whenever you issue an invoice, please put this message. So this one will, for instance, have your banking details on it and your payment terms. Please use your company name as a reference. If we have a look at what this invoice will look like, pretty much the same as your quote, only difference being that this now says tax invoice instead of quote. So this is your formal document. A quote, or sometimes people use a pro forma invoice, those are not legally binding documents. Those are subject to change, and therefore they will not count in any formal capacity. The moment you issue your invoice, this is a formal document. You don't go back and change your invoice. If there's any kind of error on it, you will have to issue a credit note to reverse this one in its entirety, or only a portion that you want to reverse, or issue an entire new invoice. You do not go back and change any details on an invoice once you've sent it to a customer. If you are happy with the way your invoice looks, you can again email it to your customer. It pre-populates your customer. Your email signature, don't keep it on default, select your customer invoice, and it will populate with your specific email signature as well, and you can email it to your customer. And again, please remember, once you've emailed your document, you do not go back and edit any details on that invoice. It's a formal document. It is sent. It's almost set in stone. If you need to change it, you can issue a credit note. Okay, so that will be your invoice. Again, if you go to customers, transactions, your customer invoices, the list of custom invoices will be over here, and it will say it's overdue or unpaid, or wherever it falls within your aging, it will tell you where it is exactly. Now, say you did make a mistake, or the customer comes back and says, no, listen, this is incorrect. You can again go to your customer transactions invoice list like this one, and again with your action buttons you can create a credit note, which will immediately create a credit note from this invoice. So you will say credit note, this number, it's today's date, and it pre-populates everything on that invoice. If they you only spent 1 hour, for instance, and it needs to be changed, then that you can change these details, and you can say the product was still active. So only issue a credit note for the difference, or otherwise you can, like I mentioned, you can create a credit note for the entire invoice and reissue an entirely new invoice. But for this purpose, I'm just going to create the difference, and we will say there was an invoice, a credit note created in this regard. So under customers, transactions, credit notes, your list of credit notes will lie here. Now, when your customer then pays you, it will go through your bank account. If you are a DGE client, then we handle this function for you. So under your banking transactions, your bank will be set up, and it will pull through automatically, and all the transactions will be listed here, and it will say your fantastic customer paid you, and we will allocate it to your bank account. If you are not a client of ours and you want to deal with your banking on your own, this is a video for another day, so we will show you how to allocate the payments. There is a function to add your receipts over here. But I strongly advise against using this feature, because if you create a receipt and then it's duplicating whatever is on your bank already. So this is only in very rare circumstances when you have, say, a cash payment that you received and it needs to be recorded on the system so that your invoice won't be showing as outstanding anymore. But the moment that you receive it into your bank account, do not create a customer receipt over here. Rather use the banking function to allocate the payment or to match that receipt. Just again, if you are a DGE client, your job ends with customer transactions quotes, tax invoices, and credit notes. You do not have to worry about allocating the receipts. That is our job. We will be allocating it via the bank transactions, so you don't have to worry about that side. Let's have a look at a summary of this customer's transactions. You will go to Customers Reports, Customer Transactions over here. Under the date range, you can select whatever your preference is. I'm just going to select live to date for now. Your customer will, or it will default to all of your customers, so you can specify only one specific customer if you want, or you can just simply list all of them. This is a report that you will see. There's our invoice. We invoiced for 9,000, but we made a mistake, so we issued a credit note for 2,000 as well. The moment that you do receive your payment, then it will come through as a payment here as well, and your account will be 0. If you want to issue a statement at the end of the month as well, then you would go to Customers Report and use this statement run feature. It will ask you to select your customer. Again, you can specify your period that you want. Let's say live to date, or let's say year to date. Tick this box that says show the balance brought forward, and you have an option over here to say you can exclude any fully allocated invoices. So if you have your invoice for 9,000, your credit note for 2,000, you have 7,000 left, the client paid that 7,000, and you don't want to put all the detail on your statement, you only want to show outstanding features, then you can tick this one as well. This will ask you, how do you want to distribute this? It will default to email, as if you specify that this statement is to be emailed to your customer under your customer list when you created your customer. And then you can say, you can ask to be CC'd in this so that you receive the email as well. There's your email signature that we set up in the previous video under company settings. It will say, my amazing company, customer name will be fantastic customer, statement at statement date. And this will pull through from your statement. And it will say, good day, fantastic customer. Hope you're doing very well. Please find your statement and let us know if you have any queries. This is your default signature. If you then select next, it will tell you that this one will be emailed. You can click a preview, and there's your statement showing that fantastic customer is not so fantastic because they still owe you 7,000 Rand. And it will also age it according to the period that it is outstanding. So luckily it's still current, so we will forgive this customer for this now. Your statement message at the bottom will also be defaulted from your company settings. Under your document messages, you had statement messages specifically where you can default this little message. Just reminding your customer what your payment terms are. And then if you go back, you can send it and it will email to your customer. If we move on to our supplier side, if you are a DGE customer, then this is something that we prefer to do on your behalf as well. Normally our clients select that we do this on their behalf, and all they do is they send their documents via text to us, and we will populate your supplier side for you as well as match your payments. But if you prefer to do your suppliers yourself, or if you're not one of our customers, then you can go to your supplier tab. Again, you can add your new supplier, or you can go to your list that is pre-populated. All your suppliers will lie here. So we've created one supplier for us already. It will have all your details similar to your customer side. So you will put your supplier name. You can categorize them under, say, services, or specific raw materials, or finished products, but it's not necessary to specify this. This is just a feature to narrow it down if you have a lot of suppliers. You can put their VAT reference number here. Again, you will put your details over here for your supplier, populate with the company name, default VAT type, etc. And now this something that you will add on this page that you didn't add on the customer side is to put your supplier's banking details in here. But all of this is simply for your own purposes as well, so you can save that just so that you have all your supplier details in one place and in one format. You will again, similarly to your customer side, go to supplier transactions. So transactions, supplier invoices. You will have your document that they send to you, and you will go into a new supplier invoice. So you will select your supplier from your list, enter the supplier number over here, the one that is on their document, so that you can just make sure that it matches on your system. The date on their document as well, you enter that. It will default to today, but put the date exactly as per their invoice as well. Then I prefer ticking this inclusive amount so that you only put in the total, and then it will revert back to what it was exclusive of that automatically. So it will default, let me just open another line, it will default to item. And if you are buying products as they are and you are reselling them, you can select from your drop down list. It will have your items that you select specified under your item list here. If they have other specific items that they have, say for instance you purchase a raw material that you're going to convert into your amazing product, then you can add a new item to have their specific code on, which will appear on the invoice, and you can select that as well to populate that item that is specific to your supplier. If it's not a stock item, then you can select account on this side. So instead of item, you can drop down and you can say account, and say it was then advertising. This will bring up your list of all of your accounts that you have available, and we're saying that this was advertising services. It wasn't a product, it was advertising services. You will have to type in your amount. It was 1,000 Rand for this advertising, and you don't have to have a default message over here because you won't be sending this document. It is simply to add it onto your accounting package so that you have everything available here. So instead of emailing this, you will just save it. If you bought a product and you would like to return it, then they will issue you with a credit note, and you will create a supplier return for this specific invoice that you captured, similarly to the way that we did it under customers. Again, once you pay your supplier, it will fall under your bank transactions that will pull through automatically from your bank system. So you will not create a payment directly. It will go through your banking side, and once you have made your payment and it's allocated and it matches to this exact invoice, you can have a look at your supplier reports and have a look at your supplier transactions. Let's say live to date again, and I only want to see Great Deal Company. View your report. It will show, okay, there was this invoice. If you had a return, it will also be an item here. If you had a payment made, it will also be here, and it will be zeroed out over here. Okay. So that is the basics for your trading aspect of your company. You will create items, and you can see them under your list. You will create customers, use your list. Issue under transactions, quotes, invoices or returns, credit notes. Under reports, you can view your transactions for that customer and create your statements for your customer every month. Say for instance you prefer it to do it monthly. And under your suppliers tab, create your suppliers. Again, transactions will be your invoices and your returns. And under reports, again, you will see your transaction, your detailed ledger of all the transactions that you have. Just a reminder then that if you are a DGE client, we will deal with your banking side and your supplier side. You will create items only and customer quotes, invoices, and if needed, credit notes, and send your customers their statements. That is it for the basics of your trading side. In another video, I can show you how to do your banking side if you're not one of our customers. And another video will show you how to use Dex to bring in your supplier invoices automatically into your system so that you don't have to go through this process of capturing them manually. Thank you very much for watching. We love paying it forward by sharing finance and business tips and insights. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with notifications on, and follow us on social media by clicking on the links below.